and now it's running out of gas.
Is it fixable?
It's not fixable because when they were growing very quickly, there was no competition. It was Lululemon was the it company in the it space, especially during COVID, which accelerated the growth of athleisure.
Lululemon once stood at the center of the athleisure revolution, a billion-dollar empire built on premium yoga pants and sleek branding. At its peak, it was one of the fastest-growing apparel companies in the world. But leadership scandals, costly mistakes, shifting fashion trends, and new competition have slowed its momentum. Today, Lululemon is still massive, but no longer invincible. So how did this Canadian startup grow into a global powerhouse, and what's holding it back today? Dennis Chip Wilson was born on April 25th, 1955 in Los Angeles, California. Now, he grew up in an athletic environment along with his two siblings, his Canadian father, Dennis Wilson, being an ice hockey and football player, and his American mother, Ruth Noel, being a gymnast. His parents met while they were attending BYU in Utah, as his father had played football there. As a young man, Wilson moved to Edmonton to attend the University of Alberta and play football there. However, he postponed his education to move to Fairbanks, Alaska, and work for the oil industry, before returning to Calgary and graduating with a bachelor's degree in economics from the University of Calgary in 1980. Now, in 1979, Chip Wilson had founded his first retail apparel company, called West Beach Snowboard Limited, which sold apparel targeted at the surf, skate, and snowboarding markets. Now, he sold West Beach in 1997 and founded Lululemon Athletica, now known as Lululemon, in 1998. And by 2000, the first dedicated store was open, selling premium yoga apparel. Wilson's vision was way bigger than clothing. He wanted a lifestyle brand. He used specialized four-way stretch fabrics and sleek designs that allow women to wear workout clothes both at the gym and on the street. In many ways, Lululemon helped invent the athleisure category, and Lululemon's model have proved to work. By 2007, the company went public with a valuation of $1.4 billion. Revenues were growing at nearly 80% year over year, reaching $149 million at the time of the IPO. From there, it was explosive growth. Between 2009 and 2019, revenue surged from $353 million to over $3.3 billion. And by 2020, Fortune had ranked Lululemon as one of the fastest growing companies 3 years running. The brand strength came from its pricing power. While rivals sold leggings for only $30, Lululemon charged $100 and convinced millions of customers that it was worth it. But this success soon brought problems. In 2013, Lululemon faced a huge quality control issue. The yoga pants were too sheer, forcing a recall of 70% of inventory and costing the company $67 million. Founder Chip Wilson then made things worse. He infamously suggested that some women's bodies aren't right for Lululemon pants. The fat-shaming backlash was immediate and damaging.
About the company's diversity strategy. Take a listen.
I think through this whole diversity and inclusion thing that they've become, trying to become like the Gap, everything to everybody. And I think just the definition of a brand is that you're not everything to everybody. You've got to be clear that you don't want certain customers coming in.
To be clear, you don't want certain customers coming in.
Wilson was forced to step down as chairman, and many customers never ever forgave the brand. Now, after Chip Wilson had exited Lululemon, Lululemon then went through a revolving door of CEOs, which is never good for a company. Christine Day resigned in 2013, Laurent Potvin was ousted for misconduct in 2018, and leadership instability created turbulence at the top. For many companies, consistent leadership builds long-term brand trust. For Lululemon, the turnover raised questions about its direction, even as sales had kept climbing. Now, the pandemic had initially looked like a blessing. With many gyms closed, demand for athleisure skyrocketed. In 2021, Lululemon's revenue jumped 42% to $6.25 billion, surpassing Under Armour in sales. But right as things were going right for Lululemon, this came one of their biggest missteps. In 2020, Lululemon acquired Mirror. They spent $500 million on Mirror, which was a fitness tech startup selling wall-mounted workout screens. And at the time, this seemed like a very good bet given the time of the pandemic and everything going on, until gyms reopened and consumers abandoned their expensive at-home fitness gadgets. By 2020, Lululemon wrote down nearly the entire investment, taking a $443 million loss. Now, the lesson from this? Even strong companies can lose focus when chasing hot trends outside their core business. Now, while all this was going on, competitors had started to pounce. Nike, Adidas, Athleta, and Target launched their own athleisure lines. Startups like Alo Yoga and Vuori captured younger and trendier demographics. Fashion itself had also started to shift. Baggy sweats, wide-leg pants, and oversized styles took over, leaving Lululemon's form-fitting leggings looking stale. Meanwhile, inflation squeezed customers, pushing many to trade down to cheaper activewear alternatives. For the first time in years, U.S. same-store sales had declined at Lululemon. Now, even in 2019, a little bit before the pandemic, U.S. revenue had started to slow down significantly for Lululemon. Their once unstoppable growth engine had begun to sputter. In 2025, Lululemon cut its annual growth forecast just to 8%, sending shares down nearly 40% from their peak. Ironically, the durability of Lululemon's clothes may be part of the problem. Customers who bought premium leggings or shorts years ago are still wearing them, which hurts repeat sales. Think about it. If your clothes don't break, tear, or rip, then you can't buy new ones. With the US market saturated, Lululemon turned to international expansion. In 2024, overseas sales grew 33%, with China alone up 39% in a single quarter. Global expansion is now the company's biggest opportunity, but it's also its biggest risk. Trade wars, tariffs, and political tensions make China a very uncertain bet for the company. Now, Lululemon's story is both inspiring and cautionary. It created an entire industry, convinced consumers to pay premium prices, and grew into a global fashion powerhouse. But scandals, overexpansion, and lack of adaptability exposed its weakness. Today, Lululemon still generates billions, but faces the challenge of staying relevant in a rapidly changing market. So that's the story of Lululemon, a trailblazer that built the athleisure empire, stumbled through scandals and failed bets, and now fights to keep its edge against global competitors. Will Lululemon reinvent itself and stay dominant, or will it fade as the next generation of brands takes over? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know who you want me to cover next.